Your pipeline isn't just a metric, it's a mirror. Let that sink in for a second. What shows up or doesn't in your CRM says a whole lot more about your heart than it does about your ability. Because think about this, when leads dry up, what happens in your heart? Welcome to offering number 2 of the Altar and the Ask, the Christian entrepreneur and sales professional's opportunity to take their sales challenges, their sales needs, their sales desires to the altar of God, ultimately to the Word of God, to understand how it informs the calling He has on our life to go out there and sell to the very best of our ability with what God has given us. So, each and every video, we start off by asking a question common to all of us in this sales role. Then we go to the altar with it to understand how the Word of God informs that. And finally, we get some action steps. How can we practically apply this to the role that God has put us in? So let's first go to the ask. As a sales leader or a producer, I think it's really easy to equate a full pipeline with peace of mind. And you may say to yourself, yeah, Ryan, that's exactly what I do. The challenge with that, though, is when we start equating a full pipeline with contentment, then what happens when it's empty? We start chasing bad fit deals. We push harder, not smarter. As I said in offering number 1, we start to compromise our values just to get something into the pipeline in the first place. That's not strategic selling. That's survival mode. And it's exhausting. It's absolutely destructive for most of us in sales. So let's go to the altar and see what the Word of God has to say about that specific challenge. Well, Proverbs 16:3 says it this way: commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Look, God is not asking us to coast. Just because we're Christians that trust in the fact that God will ultimately provide doesn't mean that we are not to commit to the roles that He puts us in. Faith doesn't cancel out our cold calling or our prospecting rhythm. As a matter of fact, our faith in God should align those things to the faith we have in Him. It should reposition our motives from fear of missing out to faithful stewardship. A pipeline rooted in fear will almost always lead to compromise, but a pipeline built in faith is something that reflects the trust that we have in the provider of all things to us, and that's God Himself. So what kind of action can we take off of this? If you're saying to yourself, yeah, Ryan, I get it. When my pipeline's full, I feel really good, but my pipeline's a little bit lean right now and I'm freaking out. So here's what I would challenge you to do. Audit your energy. Are you hustling in fear or are you sowing in faith? Are your pipeline activities reactive or are they rooted in process, in trust, and consistency? Stay in the process. Even when it's slow, even when it's dry, plant seeds, nurture relationships, speak the truth. We don't control the rain, but we need to go out there and sow as if it's going to rain every single day. Look, ultimately, your pipeline is a faith test. Not to see how well you perform, but to reveal where you and I are placing our trust. So, if this resonates with you, I want to have you share this with somebody else that probably needs it too. Somebody you work with, somebody that you're friends with. We have an opportunity to not just encourage one another to be better sales professionals, but to trust and follow the God that's in control of it all. Stay faithful, stay in the process. God will absolutely honor those that are committed to Him. That doesn't mean a full pipeline, but that does mean confidence regardless of whether it's full or not.